obviously it's going to be a little thin, but I think what you have to do is customize it to each job you're applying for. I think people often make the mistake of, oh, I got my resume done. It's, I'm all set. But you have to look at each opportunity and really kind of put the resume that you're creating back into their language. So if it's an internet company like I'm at, play up your passion for, for kind of new media, emerging technology, social, et cetera. Kind of study that company to understand where they're headed so that you can really tailor a story, which that's what we're all about here, storytellers. We have to understand who our audience is. So if it's an AOL and they're trying to change their perception, right, as kind of this old school, dusty internet company, you're this millennial male just out of school, you have a passion, maybe you started your own blog or you're into kind of app development or whatever, but demonstrate that passion that aligns with where that company wants to go so they can see you through their eyes, because their self-interest is at play here, and to your point, they're getting thousands of resumes. So just make sure it's bullseye for the company you're applying for.
Just following off that, I completely agree. Customizing it for the exact goal that you're reaching for is crucial. To give a small story from my experience, it probably won't help any of you, is that when I was here again as a double major in film, my capstone project was a stop motion animated film. And it was a Spider-Man stop-motion animated film. So, to my advice earlier about if you have something that you're particularly going for, to go for it, I did that. And that is something that for my particular applying to Marvel, that was something I wanted to call to my resume. But that's a very specific example. If it's about blogging, blogs are, you can write a blog now. You don't have to have any kind of ties to anything. Being that the internet is as big as it ever was and only getting bigger, you can create anything in terms of writing or basically trying anything out and even kind of test the waters with the public and share it with your friends and people. So you can have, again, I don't know what you'd be particularly going after, but you can essentially do anything on your own that you would do for a company. So getting that example and then shooting that right off to them would be very helpful.
I know last summer I actually hired a position for the first time, and I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted someone with a college degree, an English major, was what I secretly wanted. I couldn't quite be that specific. And secretly I really wanted them to be from Fairfield University because it was in Bridgeport.
Now we know who applied.
Yeah, I'm not there anymore though. So. But one of the things I noticed and granted, I edit and write all the time, was the amount of mistakes. You're all English majors especially. No one should be making grammatical mistakes in a resume, but if you're an English major, just don't do it. It's going to make you look really bad. And make sure your cover letter reflects both your experience and what you're applying for, kind of as what they were saying, because I got a guy that had a PhD, a master's, and his undergrad for an entry-level position, which shows you that the market's tough out there. But it was way off kilter in terms of what we were doing. He obviously didn't read the job description. And he also, another person, I had things like people writing about how they raise chickens in their spare time, which is great, but doesn't help me. And also I had another person that obviously I think they had a master's in education, and they wanted an education job. And they wrote the cover letter as if it was an education job when it wasn't. And I said, well, your application is gone, even if you would have been great, because you didn't take the time to read what we were looking for. So you've all got great resumes, I'm sure. Just make sure that what you're putting is what they, showcase who you are and what they want, and you'll do okay.
When I started applying to jobs, I didn't have internship experience. I didn't really have a lot of lines on my resume. So your question was what makes it stand out, and I would agree with Amanda. It's the cover letter. You guys should be wordsmithing all over the place, writing some really good cover letters that are just make people cry when they read them, things like that. And that's really that will show your passion obviously do your research. That's, they want to know that you know what you're talking about and that you're a smart person that knows how to do research. But, show your passion for that job. When you do show passion, then it comes through on the paper. And, I'm not going to say you're going to get the job, maybe not, but, it helps. It counts towards something. So really use your skills. All those papers aren't for nothing. This is what you need those skills for.
Right. Make sure also that you have a LinkedIn profile that corresponds with that resume. Oftentimes, I'll have a resume an interview put on my calendar, and my Outlook is like just a mess of meetings. And so, there'll be the HR person will attach that person's resume to the invite, but oftentimes it's quicker for me to go on LinkedIn, look at your profile. So it should be consistent. It should be some iteration of your combined cover letter, and your resume on LinkedIn. So make sure that you got that. And then secondly, once you have that interview, the follow-up and the thank you note is just as key, right? And it shouldn't be like the two-liner, like, thanks for meeting with me. It should be, yeah, thanks for meeting with me, and here's why I'm passionate about this opportunity, X, Y, and Z. Here's why you should hire me, X, Y, and Z, and really like make sure you listened to what that interviewee said, so that you can kind of repeat back, what they're looking for, kind of again in their language. Because I see people eliminated all the time. Like, we had a great interview, but never heard from him or her again. And it's like, because follow up in the real business world is essential.